first time I saw the WhatsApp message about this, I was like, right away, this is injustice, really. That's what I have in my mind. This is injustice. And then I saw on the YouTube all this BLM and like,
Nope.
Nations are racist.
Nations are racist.
You use these stereotypes to justify their ingrained racism. Because at the end of the day, we all know that stereotypes are just stereotypes. They don't necessarily reflect reality.
Employers do hire refugees under the counter, but without validation, they're often exploited and paid very poorly. Sometimes not even paid at all.
They say, oh, ini untuk Cina saja. It was very, very short conversation. They just cut me off once they, found out my race.
Are you Malay or what?
No, I'm Indian.
No, because I prefer Malay.
Many homeowners we spoke to insist what they're doing is justified, that they're not being racist per se. They quote different cultures and religions, or say they're just protecting their investments.
Why should I actually engage a female when I can engage a male and I don't have to give so many days paid maternity leave?
71% of Malaysian university graduates are women. But according to one survey, only 54% of women who can work are working. That's one of the lowest rates in the whole of Asia, and one of the top reasons people give for not working is housework and family responsibilities. Just 1% of people said they were not interested in working.
It's not so much about, physical versus social versus verbal versus cyberbullying. All forms of bullying potentially are very, very destructive. So we shouldn't just be focusing on physical bullying.
Orang pembuli cyber ni sebenarnya, dia orang tidak akan sedar dan tidak akan mengakui dia orang pembuli cyber. Mereka rasa macam, we have to say something. She's doing something wrong. We have to do something.
Welcome to our conversations. Really excited to have this conversation here today about a very important topic that we usually try to sweep under the carpet. And I just want to introduce our panel here with us today. My name is Anne, and I'm a pastor here at Agape Community Church.
I'm Linda. I retired as a nurse and I was working for the past 32 years.
Wow.
And I retired about 11 years ago.
Wow.
I'm Dennis. I'm a Filipino working here as an engineer here in Seremban.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pastor Joshua, working in this church as well. I think this is my 7th year here.
Nice. Today we want to talk about the stereotypes and prejudices and discrimination that we've been talking about in the previous episode as well. And we realize that it's not something that only certain people have, but actually we all have them, right? We all have it in one way or another, whether it is in our mind only, whether or not we act it out, and we can't actually escape from having it. In fact, there are so many different types of stereotypes or prejudices, race and nationality being one of the most common one in Malaysia, the most felt one, I would say. Language, economic status, lifestyle, fashion even, body shape, and gender in workplaces especially is also one of the big issues. So we want to just hear some stories that you might have and just talk about some of these issues that really do exist. Who wants to start?
Your point?
Maybe Auntie Linda,
Okay. Yeah,
Auntie
who have
Linda.
a wealth of story from the hospitals.
Okay, initially I was telling Pastor Ann that I want to share the nursing part maybe a little bit later lah, because I wanted to share when after I left school, I started working in a bicycle shop, motorbike shop where they do insurance and all that. And I was introduced to this place by a friend. So I was working nicely there for a week, and then suddenly there's a new staff there, and this staff is a Chinese firm, and the new staff that they took in was a Chinese girl. So I was thinking, like something is not right lah. So during lunchtime, the boss called me up and said, tomorrow you don't need to come already. I'm giving you a paycheck now. Tomorrow you don't need to come. I was so speechless. I was so sad because I was so still naive and still young. I don't know. Then I slowly took the money and went out, and then went home crying all the way there. Then I told my mom. Mom said, never mind. It's okay. You can find another job. But through it all, even though that I went through this, it didn't stop me from applying for other jobs because I know that God is going to be with me. So I didn't go and brood into one corner and cry and cry and cry and cry. You know, people like, you know, why they take her, why they just sack me out like that, you know, without even noticing, you know, just that few minutes, you know, I was so sad. But then I managed to go through it lah.
Right. So you're saying that you knew that the workplace at that time was really wanting to choose a Chinese instead, and you felt that.
Yes, and it was a Chinese firm in it. I was the only non there.
Right, right. But actually, for viewers who do not know, you are actually mixed.
Yes, my mom is a Chinese, my dad is an Indian. But then I don't look like a Chinese, but I look more like a Malay girl. I go by an Indian name, you know. So when I come to some Indian patients, so when I talk to them, I don't talk in their dialect because I don't speak Tamil, no. So I will speak to them in Malay. So they look at me top to bottom, and then they looking my name, my Indian name, why you're talking to me in Malay, you know. So I have to explain to them, I'm sorry, I said my name is like that, but I can't speak. So they understand. So it's good. So sometimes when patients like, you know, like I can speak Hokkien. So patients, the old aunties and uncles, when they come, and then doctors used to like, you know, ask them questions, they cannot understand. So they'll call me like, come. The doctors will call and say, can you please explain? So I will do the translation.
So it's actually an added advantage that even though you can't speak Tamil, which people expect you to because of your original Indian name, right?
Yes.
But you actually can speak Hokkien.
Yes.
But that may look different in different area, right?
Yes.
I think one of the experiences I was also sharing that I had is I'm the opposite. I'm Chinese, but I can't really speak Chinese. Really, I grew up not being able to speak Cantonese or Mandarin, which is this town's majority. So I get discriminated, even roughly treated because I'm a Chinese that do not know Chinese. Hawkers or even the market will literally scold me because like, wow, what kind of Chinese are you? You know, you are like not part of us. And it is really horrible to feel that because I thought we are the same race, you know, at least, you know, there is a differentiation there. But you're feeling in terms of language, you have the other way around. I mean the same because you can't speak Tamil, but you are able to speak Hokkien in the hospitals.
And not only that, sometimes when we go shopping, we will go in group like that. So we were looking like that. And then one of the shop seller will say, "Ayah, these people come and look only lah. They won't buy." Speaking in Hokkien, you know. So I went there. I said, "Excuse me." Then they say, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Okay.
So advantage lah.
Yes, a good advantage.
Advantage. Yeah.
Pastor Joshua, you may have different experiences because you grew up in kampong, and actually the feeling is different back there, right? Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
Okay, I came from a very small village. Very small village. This is before Google Map exists, so you can't find it at that time. It's a very small village, and the township is really segregated by race. Very typical one, for example, because of British colony system last time, the Chinese will dominate the town. You want to find Chinese people, go to town. The Malay people will be in their Kampung Jawa, Kampung Melayu, which is a little bit further away. The Indians, everyone will be in estate. Now I have a lot of friends because I was from Sekolah Kebangsaan, where there's full of Malay and Indian people. So my best friends are all from there. So every time after school, I will actually go to the estate to mix around with my friends. And they've been very kind, so they will take me in, so to speak, like us. So I spend a lot of time with the Malays and the Indian there. Now, because of that, my first language was actually Bahasa then. I can't speak good Mandarin or Cantonese or even English. I can only speak BM. Now, thinking that speaking BM, I'll be welcomed by everyone, right? Actually, is no. The reason because primary school, I'm still fine because there's a mixture of, because mainly is just Indian and Malay. But the moment I go to secondary school, it's very obvious. Those from the Indian school, they will gang out one gang. Those from the Chinese school, they will one gang. And then there will be the rest of us, Sekolah Kebangsaan. Now, me being Chinese, the Chinese from the Chinese school will expect me to speak Mandarin with them. But I can't, you see. There are a lot of words that I can't speak. So I'll be discriminated by the Chinese. They're saying same thing like the pastor Anna. You Chinese don't know how to speak Mandarin. You are embarrassment to our race. So I'm thinking, since you reject me, I'll go to the Malay group since I can speak good Malay, right? No. They will feel you are not part of us. You are not Chinese. You can speak like us. You have a lot of friends. In fact, they feel don't like because they feel like you are they will just call me, they call it orang cafe. That means unbeliever. they say you should go to the Chinese one. Don't mix around with us. It's like it's like I'm actually how to say infiltrating. Is it infiltrating into their group? So they don't like it. They always ask me to go to the Chinese. So I'm not accepted by the Chinese or the Malay. So my only backup system is that I go to the estate with my Indian friends. So my best friend at that time were all Indian friends.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's interesting. That's the segregation in a kampong. But does the segregation also exist in the hospitals?
Especially for me, I was working for so many years. There was one stage where we have chumalang, you know. So I was working for 25 years, no chumalang. My senior got it, my junior got it. So much so that I got so frustrated, I put in my optional retirement for 25 years. So when I put it in, about a week later, my name came out for chumalang. So I got it. So we have to make some noise lah. You know, otherwise it will not be like, you know.
Right.
So sometimes they're just junior than us, they've got 2 times, you know. And then you have been working day and night, you know, doing what they are doing. Something can be so frustrated because I was thinking that, you know, God has placed me there for a reason. So I just pull it through. No, God will see me through towards the end. You know, after 20 over years, I got promoted to a nursing sister. That is 3 more years before I retired. I became a sister. Then I was sent to Ampang some more. No? Old age, they're traveling up and down. Still working shift duty. We ask for office hours, they won't give. They'll give all those young people, you all no need. Like that kind of thing we went through. But we pulled through because God was with us.
So you experienced it in terms of age as well, not so much of race in this term, or maybe there was
age, and also because most of my minority are them. We are all not. We are few only ma. So that's what. That time, not many people wants to be nurses. You know.
Right.
Very few. Now it's so much different. Those time very few. They'll think that nurses are all doing all the dirty jobs, you know. You know, washing people's poo and pee and all that, you know, and then dressing their wounds and all that. Nobody likes to be. Even like what yesterday Erika was saying, that stereotype us nurses as so it was quite a difficult time that we went through, but
so it was a stereotype of job tasks, right? Yeah, that exists as well. But Denise, your story will be a bit different because you wouldn't have seen this in your own experience. Maybe you can share what you experienced in your workplace.
Yeah, mine is really different. I cannot speak Hokkien. I cannot speak Bahasa Melayu. So, okay, as a foreigner, so I came here actually 10 years ago in Ipoh. My former boss in Philippines, he was actually a Chinese Malaysian. He's a really good boss, intelligent one. He asked a bunch of us Filipinos to come over to Malaysia and work for him. At first, I was like, okay, Malaysia is a Muslim country. So I myself had this prejudice towards not race, not color, but religion. I'm sensitive to Muslim. I may say, it's okay for me to say that?
Yes.
Yeah,
very real.
because... So I decided like, okay, I trust my boss. So I came to Ipoh, work for him. And I was thinking that I would be just dealing with the so-called religion thing and then the rest should be okay. But when I came to Ipoh, the first 2 years, it's not really like just religion, you know, not just like, oh, there's this language, there's this even race, there's this religion. And now, as a foreigner, they saw us, I guess even now, they see us as, you know, trying to take this job opportunity from them.
Okay.
So they kind of like treat us as a threat, I guess. So I remember the first 2 years really was that let's say my boss asked me to do something and then he expecting me to deliver 10, I really have to deliver 15. I have to overdo myself.
Do more than
I have to do more. One thing is, of course, I want to make sure that my boss is right in hiring me. Second thing is, I really have to show to my colleague, especially those local, that I am really up to the job, and then our boss is right in hiring me. So that there is this conflict in me. I really have to ensure that I'm good.
Yeah.
In a way, I'm not really sure, but this is my personal feeling that I think also we really have to overdo it to the point that it was really stressful for me.
Yeah.
It was really stressful.
Yeah.
Makes me really think about a lot of other foreigners, because Malaysia is so, we don't realize it, but there's actually so many foreigners mixed into into the crowd, and a lot of people will feel what you feel.
Yes, yes.
How do you also feel in the normal marketplace, outside supermarket, or amongst the community outside the workplace? Do you get treated differently?
Yes, yes. Actually, like a year ago, my wife and I, Jasmine, we went out looking for a new house. So we're looking for this, house rental apps or something. We talked to the agent. I'm sorry. There's this house rental price there. And then someone told us that actually you can negotiate. So when we negotiated, nothing happened. Whatever's the value there, that's it. So it's fixed. But our local friends, my Chinese friends, Indian friends in the workplace, in the office, they told me that actually you can still negotiate for it, like it can still go down by like 100 or 2. I was like, oh, okay. But for me, I kind of like expected it. It happened to me before. It happened to my Filipino friends as well, that when we're dealing with this type, we really don't get the good side of the bargain,
The best.
So what we do is just like, okay, like, as long as it's in my budget, and then I should be okay with it, and then that's it. So it goes same also in kampung, like you want to buy something. I remember we went to this Pasar Malam, and I want to buy something. I know bahasa a bit. I can understand. I cannot speak. This fellow, he was able to bargain with a good price, and I was like, I also like this. So I went there, and then like, oh yeah, I want to buy this as well. I can tell that the price this fellow given to me is different. It's higher than this. So for me, it's not really a big deal, but I can really feel that there's that sense, there's that
like
feeling.
The double standard there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think this exists in a lot of areas as well. We've been talking about even rental or buying property. There's a difference for certain races, and then the rest of the Malaysians, and then those who are foreigners. There's just this whole range that happens. Whether it is buying normal things or houses or cars and so on and so forth, it does exist in that. Pastor Joshua, you come from kampung, and then when you came out, I think that's also a very huge difference,
big difference.
How do people treat
How
you?
do people treat me then? Bad? Okay, because typically you finish as PM and then I have to go to city to find a job to support myself. So when I came out to city, actually in Petaling Jaya, I didn't know anyone. And of course, I dress very differently, not as cool as those guys. Very kampung.
Not as a city boy.
Totally not a city boy. And a lot of things I don't know. And they know I'm from kampung. So they treat me as less. They don't treat... So like, for example, I was working as a waiter then, my one of my first few jobs after SPM. The person is just mopping. Then he's not happy, so he took the mop, he threw it on the floor and said, you pick it up, you do. Then I just do it. Just because I'm from a kampung. If I'm from the city and they know that I'm from city, I'm like one of them, they won't treat me that way.
It's true.
This one, they really treat me as like you're beneath us, you're below and whatever lah, don't care. So in a way, I got discriminated because of my background from where I came from. So
all these discrimination are really very real, and we're talking about the few different type, and there's no way to cover all as well. Because I think one of the issues in the world now is this gender equality as well. A lot of women are also saying that they feel discriminated and things like that. And I'm glad to know, actually, I think over here there may not be so much, but there are stereotypes like people thinking women can be engineer or construction worker, or male nurses. That's also a stereotype. People will feel uncomfortable about that
kindergarten teachers.
Normally women, but there are actually more. So
now male nurses are more than than now when those time when we were doing nursing that time.
So
that
it's
time was very,
become
very few.
more accepted.
Yes. But even though male nurses, they cannot work in a female ward. You see, they have to work in a male ward. So that is also a
difficulty there.
Yeah, it's quite difficult.
Actually, also as pastors, sometimes when we go out together, they will see me as pastor,
Right.
but they will see her as a pastor's wife.
Oh,
Because,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
she's pastor. We work
Yeah,
alongside.
yeah,
we
yeah.
are assistant pastors in the church.
Yeah.
So if not their first impression that
Yeah.
if you're my wife, means you're the pastor's wife.
Yes.
They will not see her for the first time that she's a pastor as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I get that a lot. It's
Yeah.
really true. Not to say it to anyone. I don't get actual discrimination like people acting
Yeah,
out
yeah,
against
correct.
it, but it is a stereotype.
A stereotype.
We go. I do always ask this question: Why when I have conversation, I don't know whether you realize it, but when you meet another couple or you meet another man, they always only talk to the male, and then suddenly I feel like, am I invincible?
Yeah,
I'm a
correct.
human being. At least say
Correct.
hello,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
trying
yeah.
hard. Oh, okay, the person has ignored me,
Yeah.
and that actually is very strange for me to feel it's a stereotype that the wife
Yeah.
doesn't matter or can't
Or
be in
matter
leadership
less.
or matter less.
Yeah, matter
Yeah,
less.
so I've always been asked a lot of times, oh, what ministry are you doing? And then they will always ask me, so children, youth?
Yeah, children ministry.
It's like something really,
Yeah,
you know, they would think
yeah,
that it's
yeah.
like that.
Or they
So-
will think, you do admin, right?
Yes, the admin, you
Yeah,
help
admin
in the
work.
admin?
Yeah.
So, no. So
Yeah,
there's a lot
yeah.
of stereotype that exists
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
true, it's true.
I think I'm also a bit guilty on that one, Pastor.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
think, I thought it's okay. Because like I had landlords. I was meeting my landlords. They're couple and Malay. So I have this idea that, I don't know who fed the idea, I cannot remember. But I have this idea that, okay, Malay couple, male, female, I have to talk to the
Male.
Oh,
male,
yes,
not
yes,
to the-
okay.
I have that. I don't know who fed the idea,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
I have
yeah.
that sense. I have that idea, though. I'm not really sure if. Now I'm guilty. I'm stereotyping, I guess now.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I do that.
you're just being careful,
yeah.
but because of culture as well.
Yes, yes,
But
yeah.
for the Malays, yes.
Yes.
There
if
is a
there's a
culture.
husband
Yes.
and wife, you
You-
talk to the man,
Ah.
and you only shake the lady's hand if she extend. If
Yeah,
not,
Oh,
yeah.
just bow. Good.
Yeah,
But that way,
yeah.
I think it's more on cultural
Yes,
sensitive.
yes, yes.
So
Ah,
in that
right,
sense,
right.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yes.
Correct.
Mm,
Talking
yeah.
about stereotype is not. It's also
Yeah.
the other way around. For
Yeah.
example, because I come from kampong,
Mm-hmm.
I always feel easier to talk to like everyone else, except for those that I deem they're doing well in life.
Yeah.
Maybe they go overseas for study. They're from better family background. I always see them as higher. Therefore, I avoid because I feel like all these people
Yeah.
fake one.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're always there. I only
Yeah.
talk to my
Real
level.
people.
Yeah.
So actually, in a sense, thinking of it now is like, isn't that a stereotype? Also the other way around.
Yeah.
I may not look down on them in that sense, but I actually look down on them in another sense. It's like
Yeah.
I discriminate or you have prejudice against them. I just box them in as like these are rich
Oh.
people.
Yeah,
They don't understand our hardship.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
yeah.
brush it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in my nursing area also, I mean, sometimes there are some patients who are quite high MIT, so they expect the nurses to be at their call lah. You know, anytime they call, you have to come, whatever is it lah. So you have to answer to their calls if they press the bell and all that. You know, so then we have to follow lo. So we don't like think that that
Yeah.
since they treated us like that, so we also should like not entertain them or whatever. It's our duty, ma. God say everybody is equal, so treat
Yeah.
everybody equal. Wherever is it Malay, Indian, Chinese,
Correct.
whatever is
correct.
it. So we
Right. That brings
Yeah.
us to a very good conclusion to say that, I think we will never be able to live without stereotypes. I mean, all of us have
That's true.
some form
Yeah,
of stereotypes in
yeah.
our mind, even if we don't act out against it. There
Correct,
is prejudices,
Yes.
whether from us or towards us, right, when we
Yeah.
experience it. And as much as we do receive, we are also givers of some form of
Yeah.
discrimination,
It's
conscious or not.
Mm.
And I think it's normal that when we receive prejudices or especially discrimination act, that we
Yeah.
feel hurt, we feel offended even.
Unfair
and
sometimes.
Unfair.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to seek some kind of justice,
Yes,
We
yeah.
want to justify, no, actually it's like that. No, you
Yeah,
don't understand.
yeah, yeah.
Actually, I'm not trying to be racist or we
Yeah.
try to do that. But I think it's important that in that hurt, that we don't allow it to kill our spirit.
Yes, it's
Don't
true.
allow it to develop something else in our
Yes,
spirit.
yeah.
The bitterness,
Mm.
the vindication,
Yeah.
I want vindication
Yeah.
for this.
Or hatred.
Or hatred,
You want to
correct.
see that kind of a
Against-
face again.
Yeah, you wanna
that
get
kind.
even with
yeah.
them.
Get even,
yes.
yes. I think these are things that we need to
Yeah,
be
it's
careful
true,
to
it's
guard
true.
our hearts, like the scripture says, not to allow it to happen. And I've learned recently that pride and pettiness is actually two sides of the same coin. Whether we end up becoming very proud, like, you see, pride exists in multiple types. As long as we have prejudice, it exists. Or we become very petty. Small thing also, because small, sensitive. It becomes as well. And although I do agree, in some cases of discrimination, we must seek justice. If someone is being very badly bullied, I think we need to do something about it.
It's true,
or wrongly accused or wrongly fired, things like that. We do need to do something about it for sure. But we probably need to talk more about us as human beings and we face.
I actually feel that in all this, because I may not, I like actually, anyway, if any one of you missed the Fifth Friday's last episode, do watch it, it's very good. I like it because Erica explained it very well, the difference between discrimination and prejudice. Discrimination is something like the act of it. Act it out is discrimination.
Yes.
Now, some of us, okay, we may not discriminate others in terms of action, but in terms of attitude, prejudice. Prejudice is more like the attitude, discrimination is the action. So I may not act it out, but inside the way I look at the person is different. I may have judged it. Or judge the person. And coming back to my own reflection, I always have to remind myself to treat people equally, because I always say that people must matter to us, but people matter to God. And to treat people as who they are in Christ and as one that Christ loved to accept. And as for me, if anyone were to discriminate against me, to bully me or things like, because especially when I was young, a lot of people always have this mindset that you don't have a father or you're from a broken family. Therefore, it's like they see me as a problematic child or someone with a character that is like flawed. They will look at me like, maybe he will cheat, maybe he will lie, he's dishonest. They will look at me that way. Now, I grew up feeling very angry and bitter about it. But thank God, as Christian, through the years, it took a while to change. I always have to remind, if I'm being discriminated in any form, okay, I need to choose to be better and not bitter. Because bitterness, it may come through different form. From prejudice, it can turn into discrimination. Like for example, in my one, I may find it very easy to work with people out in the community, like those the poor that we help during those times. I find it very easy with them, regardless of how they dress, how they speak, or even sometimes, let's be very honest, the smell. I feel very comfortable with them. And I think I'm good, right? But actually, no. Those who dress well, those who they present themselves well, I'm actually a bit more wary about them. And I have to consciously remind myself, be better than this, don't be bitter. Treat people equally, because you cannot judge them before you know them. So I actually have to take conscious effort to remind myself that treat people well, treat people equally regardless. Because we are called to love people regardless. Regardless means regardless. There's no whether it's discrimination, prejudice, bias of any kind,
it's true.
And I like what Auntie Linda, you were saying, that actually remembering that God created us all equal is actually our duty. That people can do that towards us, but we need to recognize what we are doing as well. We can continue to do what is right and just let go of those areas. So for people who have wronged us, also speaking to anyone that's watching, I think it's important for us to find healing for ourselves. Right? Otherwise we become bitter. So healing for ourselves, and we need to learn to release forgiveness wherever that we can, and to get that kind of redemption. Because vengeance is not ours to seek.
It's true.
We do what is right.
Correct.
And
let God do the rest.
Let God do the rest.
And also through all this that we go through, it makes us a better person. So that when you see other people in the situation like what we went through, we understand them better.
We can emphasize at that level.
And then we can give whatever advice or whatever we went through to make them a better person.
That's really good, because as Christians we believe the cross is about reconciliation of man to man as well. So we should be able to reconcile everyone to each other, regardless of where we come from. And God's kingdom is always about bringing back His children to God's original design. God never meant for human beings to be so broken, so separated, so isolated from one another. He meant us. There's not supposed to be any walls, which humans have created the differences. But that's not in God's mind at all.
And I feel that the church people, not only the church building in terms of the people, we must be very embracing, regardless of lifestyle, regardless of faith or belief, accept people. And I think I don't want to sound biased, but Agape is a good church in a sense. All people of all shapes and sizes, all colors, if I can say that. Very accepting. We don't have like the you, me mentality. Everyone is very we are very comfortable with different types of people,
Yeah,
different
that's true.
categories of
Yes,
people. If I can say.
categories, yeah, that's right, I wanted to
different-
say, yeah.
Very easy to embrace. And for me, as someone that was not an Agapian, many years back, now that I joined, I feel very accepted.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they can accept me as a pastor,
Yes.
regardless of my background or that,
Yeah.
then they can accept everyone. So I
Yeah,
feel very
it's true.
good.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Our conversation today has been very interesting. It's taken a very
Yeah.
interesting turn to help us reflect on different
Yes.
situations as
Yes.
well. And even as we bring it to a close right now, actually I was contemplating whether to ask this one question, but I think that it might be important. Dennis, there is new regulations during this CMCO period that non-Malaysians,
Yeah,
regardless of
yeah.
what the status is, are not allowed into different premises, organizations, some hotels, restaurants even. Do you see it as a discrimination act? How do you feel about that?
First time I saw the WhatsApp message about this, I was like, right away, this is injustice, really. That's what I have in my mind. This is injustice, and then
Yeah,
I
it's
saw on the
true.
YouTube all this BLM, and like,
Mm.
but I realized that I tried to convince myself that all this entails cost really for the government. So let's say that they trace someone, they really have to spend like for the medication, for whatever they have to
Yes.
spend resources just to
Yeah.
trace people with COVID.
Yeah.
So I think it is just incumbent, at least to convince me, it is incumbent for the government to really like prioritize the citizen first
Yeah.
before foreigners. So I think it's okay, but yeah, initially I thought it's injustice.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing so honestly about your feelings, because it does bring up a lot of thoughts and how you mentioned dealing with it. That I guess for us moving forward is the most important thing. When it happens to us, or if we are the ones that do it, how we choose to act, respond, defines us. Anyway, thank you so much for being here.
Welcome,
We've had a
welcome.
wonderful conversation. We hope that our
Yeah.
listeners and viewers are blessed by it and
Yes.
grow from it as well. Thank you, Dennis and Linda,
Yeah.
Pastor Joshua.
Most welcome.
Yeah.